Okay, so this is not going off topic, but this is surrounded. Okay, so there's this quote that says this. You know how people say that they go out and I'm going to go find myself?
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Sure, I don't know what people are saying half the time when they say that.
I don't think they do either.
But I believe that you go out there and create yourself or recreate yourself. What do you think about that? Come off as, because you've been set on a platform. I've been too. My whole entire life, I've been underneath my dad, and I love my dad. I have a really good relationship with my dad.
I love it.
And my mom. But I can never reach the standards of it. I really can't. Especially because I like being goofy and obnoxious.
Right.
And people are expecting me to be this, this, and this. Because actually, I'm 30, but I started speaking when I was 20.
Yeah.
I got the platform when I was 20. That screwed me up in so many ways. I'm being serious. It messed with my identity. And then I had to go through all my trials and all my hardships and actually really figure out who I am by the end of the day and how I want to be perceived. But I went through a couple years of struggling with that. So I always had to live up to a platform. So when I see Superman, you'll like this actually. When I was in Hawaii, I actually had a counselor for 5 months. And the thing that she was always trying to work on me is, Josh, you need to stop being a superhero all the time. Because I'm very optimistic. I'm always very driven. I don't let people tap into my emotions. And she said she was working on me being closed off for 5 months straight, dude. I'm being dead serious. And she's like, Josh, like there's this thing inside you. It's like a perfectionist thing. And Superman, he's like, yeah, because I've always been trying to live up to the standard. She's like, Josh, you've trained your mind how to be happy all the time. You never let yourself go to the deep parts. So when I was in Hawaii, I actually had to go through all the struggles too. Now I'm trying to learn how to like live through it because I'm such in grind mode right now again, to be honest with you. But I'm able to actually, when I'm having a bad day, I actually start drawing my emotions, and that's how I work through my issues now. I just draw a picture and write down what I feel.
So you're tapping into your humanity.
Yeah.
Wow. How's that affecting pre-Hawaii, post-Hawaii? How is not only the process of going through some of your pain, but the proactive tools you carry with you today, like drawing and like notating the things you feel. How's that, like, what do your relationships look like before and after?
Okay. So here's the thing. I'm gonna bring up my ex-fiance. I don't want to make her the main thing.
No.
When you really want to be with someone for the rest of your life and it ends up just falling apart, the only thing you usually know how to do is either sink in it or avoid it and try to think differently. I personally just pursued my dreams at a high level. That's all I did. I just focused on my dreams. I moved to California. It was really good. I actually had a really good time. But if you don't think about, I know this sounds bad on camera, but it's literally how I've trained my mind. If you don't think about it that often and all you do is for 9 months just live the time of your life, I didn't even work through it. So when I was in Hawaii, I had to learn how to work through it. Like, Josh, do you understand that this is actually a big issue that just happened? I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's kind of big. And she actually really had me think about it. Like, Josh, this is what, because the way I've trained my mind through the years is that when you go through hard issues, it's like a proverb that says, hope deferred makes the heart sick, but desire realized or a dream fulfilled is a tree of life. So I'm like,
oh, desire realized. I'm going to go after the dream.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, well, my heart is sick, so I just go to thing that makes my heart come alive, and I'll just do that to nurture it.
So the irony is, do you perceive that maybe your pain could actually stop you if it's not addressed from realizing your dream fully? Like, or the dream realized being fulfilling?
When I go through pain, I've mentally learned how to train myself to tap out of it really quickly instead of working through the emotions.
Wow.
And I don't know how that happened. My mom says I've been very optimistic my whole life.
It's a survival mechanism. Yeah, bro.
Yeah, so I've never been trained. You know how like we're like in soccer, you are trained tools to get results. I've been trained how to live an optimistic lifestyle my whole life. Because what happened to me after high school, being this jock, my life falling apart, boom, reality check, and then I had to learn how to actually do well in life. So I went through one of the hardest stages of my life right after high school, and I had to work through it. So I learned how to train myself. Now I'm 30. Now I'm trying to learn how to. I'm doing good, to be honest with you. I'm very emotionally healthy. I'd be happy. I'll be honest with you. I still have my triggers, but I'm learning actually how to be more vulnerable. So. So it's a process.
No, I mean, that's beautiful, bro.
This right now.
This is no. This is so good because this is really near and dear to my heart. So I'm kind of selfish right now.
I love
I'm willing
it.
to own that. But it's interesting to me that you said I've trained my mind to basically just work through it. So I call it the T-Rex arms. We go to now. This is no direct put down of anyone, like our parents, your fiance, my exes, whatever it is. But we go for affection and connection to a source.
Okay.
We receive rejection or disappointment or some type of pain that stores as a trauma in our heart. Our genius, how God made us brilliant, it goes, you must survive. You must thrive.
Survival kicks in.
Set it to the side.
Oh.
And there's a mechanism that we all react differently. Some it's fight, flight, freeze. Everyone's different, but yours, and I'm probably speaking out of turn, but I would guesstimate you're probably a 3. 3s are extremely highly driven humans. They're definitely a person you want on your team because they will lead far from the front and they won't even turn around to see who's behind them.
Okay.
It doesn't mean they don't care about people. It just means that they're like,
they're so focused on
this has to get done. Let's go.
Okay.
And typically they're raised by perfectionist parents. So, but what's interesting is the T-Rex theory is, it's almost like if you were to hold your arms out for a hug and I gave you a little bit of a needle stab right underneath your arm. Okay. From now on, when you reach out to grab a hug, you're probably going to reach right here. Right. And so you're walking around these T-Rex arms. Okay. Because it keeps you safe.
Because you did that, so it's projecting on what you've done. So you want.
So your experience of pain and rejection at any time in your life, and usually it's the majority of our childhood. We don't realize it, and this isn't villainizing our parents.
No.
It's our parents are a product of their teacher, and they repeat their wounds until someone stops in the family line and says, "I'm going to address my wounds."
That's good.
It's going to happen. It's just going to happen. Like I have 2 kids, and only until I started really addressing my inner child pain, was I able to look and realize how I was passing it on to my boy and my daughter.
Because my dad has always told me this. I really do have an awesome father, like no joke. Like he said that we are all wanting to be fathered. So a lot of our issues comes from family issues, not being nurtured in some way, fathered and mothered.
100%. And so like you can have the best mom and dad in the world and one dirty look, hey dad, you want to go play catch?
Yeah, I agree.
Son, I love you, but not now. Yeah. All of a sudden your heart takes on a pain and it stores this trapped emotion in your body and you do everything in your power to protect it from not processing.
Yeah. So this is kind of interesting. So because I have such an amazing father, but he's been able to be this for me, this and this. But one thing that I always wanted about my dad is I've never really had a dad that was super playful. So I would actually, when I was in Hawaii, there was this one guy that was a father figure of mine to the counselor. I would want to go hiking, and he's like, "Hey Josh, like I was randomly thinking about you. You want to go swimming or go hiking?" And that touched my heart because that's something my natural dad never really did with me. It was amazing.
Wow.
So it was a little bit of a wound, but also another way that, I believe is that God, the creator of the universe, Jesus, wanted to bring some healing to my life too at the same time. So
yeah, I fully believe that new experiences can provide breath where there was just pain.
Because the thing about my dad, because my dad has been good in this area. He's been a good father, a good provider, a good person to talk to, help me when I'm at my lowest. But there's also certain areas I needed him to be that he never was. I was hoping he would be, and I found some of that out in other aspects. So
it would make sense why you're super playful.
Yeah.
And you love to stay in that lane because it does something for you.
It does.
You're giving yourself a gift you haven't been given before. So it makes sense. So as we're willing to back away and observe with curiosity, our inner child, like the part of us that we're still carrying, our subconscious. It's the map of who we are up to now.
So hold on, I got a question. Inner child, talk to me about that, because I see people talking about that, but when you say the word inner child, hit me with your perspective. Like, talk to me.
My perspective is that you could use the word subconscious and inner child interchangeably. Because your experiences, there's a reason why a lot of people like Macs, and one of the reasons is because they're written in a different code. It's Linux. It's very simple code. The code is simpler. So the point of saying that is our first, it's all over the board, but like our first decade, our code is just imprinted. It's concrete. It is literally foundational. The next 10 years is another layer of code. And it's literally your operating system. You don't question it. You don't think about it. By the time you are 25 or 29, you are literally living out of 86 to 92% out of your subconscious mind without thinking twice.
Okay, so
the majority of your decisions, you don't question.
So it's the thing that you've already wired in your mind you live out of.
Yes.
Okay.
It's how it's your subconscious and your conscious are two completely different things.
Okay.
Your conscious is you're thinking right now as I'm talking. You have a monologue of your voice going right now. Okay. Right? That's your conscious. You're consciously thinking. Your subconscious is the things that drive you, that create the self-sabotage, that create the pain until you pay attention to it. It's really your inner genius that's trying to protect you from pain.
Okay.
But until we go in and rewire,
you had to rewire.
you have to. Every human does.
You do.
So until we go in and rewire that subconscious part of us that's driving the ship,
That's good.
we're gonna create the same carousel effect, and you're gonna experience the exact same pain within the next few years over and over again. Maybe not in the same vehicle. Maybe
Not also the high intensity too.
Right.
Yeah. Like Josh, that thing you did 4 weeks ago, that was painful. You're gonna redo that.
Yeah, we will.
because our inner genius is actually passively trying to tell us something like, hey, I still have this. Yeah. You don't know your tendon is torn until you go to step. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So the same thing goes, like your muscle hurts when you go to exercise it or use it. So the same thing with our identity. So subconscious, I believe, can be interchangeable. I could be wrong, but it's my job as the adult Zach to love the inner child Zach well. It's my job. I'm the only one who's equipped now to give that inner child what it needs.
That's good. Okay.
So there's different modalities. There's somatic experience, there's EMDR, there's psychodrama therapy, there's Splunk. There's all these different modalities that get you inside of your body to reveal the trauma that's there. And I think people, once they understand how easy it is to form a trauma emotionally, not just talking about the obvious, like being physically strangled or molested or spiritual abuse. It's literally an emotional experience.
Yeah, because this is what my counselor was talking about. Yeah, even the littlest thing, even moving out of your parents' household can cause a little bit of a trauma. Yeah.
And then you formulate a belief about yourself in that moment that you think is absolute truth. You don't even question that ever again.
You just store it in.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is not going off topic, but this is surrounded. Okay, so there's this quote that says this. You know how people say that they go out and I'm going to go find myself? Yeah. Well, that's cool. Sure, I don't know what people are saying half the time when they say that.
I don't think they do either.
But I believe that you go out there and create yourself or recreate yourself. What do you think about that?
The first picture that comes to my mind is a snake.
Okay.
Losing its skin.
Okay.
Basically, it's an element of themselves that they are not. And they're recognizing that, oh, this is causing me pain. I need to part ways with it.
Okay.
This isn't no longer, like I created a false agreement.
Yes.
And it's no longer serving me.
Right.
And this thing that I'm trying to be to everyone else around me is causing me pain.
Okay.
So I'm going to part ways with it, and I'm going to let everyone down, and I'm fine with it. I'm going to come back a new person.
Okay.
But I mean, your brain as a man doesn't even stop forming until you're 26.
That's
so
why girls should start finding guys too after they're 26.
you should listen. If you're listening to this and you want to get married and you're under 30, just don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Trust me. You're welcome. I'll save you a divorce. But I got married at 22, bro. So I get it. But anyway, all that being said, I don't even know where I was going with that, bro.
It was fun though.
It was fun though.
But no, you were talking about like you gotta shed yourself, because I brought the reality that, dude, I've been thinking about this a lot. I hate it when people say, go find yourself. There's nothing, I mean, I get it. Like, go search yourself out, know what you like. You just gotta you fill in the blank, something happened, now you gotta find yourself. I believe that you gotta figure out what you want in life and you gotta go create it. That's what I believe.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. So
it's a little bit different when we're talking about.
You gotta know what you want.
Yeah.
And you've got to go create it.
So I live by this quote, and this is my favorite quote in the world. It says, the best way to predict the future is to create it.
The best way to predict the future is create. I love that.
It's my favorite quote in the world. I actually live by it. Most of my designs are revolved around that. I've written the quote 100 times. I'm actually going to probably make a mural one day of it all over my wall of that because I'm an artist. I'm going to paint that. So I believe that because I'm a creator, I'm not a content maker. I hate that word content maker. I'm sorry. This whole entire Instagram, I'm an artist. I'm a creator. I believe that life is learning how to create all the time, to create the lifestyle you want, create the relationships you want, create the emotions you want, create the art you want. We are creators because we come from the creator, and we're learning how to create who we want to be, do, see, and become.
That fully lands.
Yeah.
I hear you fully. It makes sense to me what you're saying. I would rephrase
It's
that.
good, but it might be out of context what we're talking about.
No, it actually lands fully.
Oh, good. Okay,
yeah.
cool.
So I believe that we're all to create.
Okay.
I really do.
Okay.
I think we're all walking dead men.
Walking dead man.
I really do. I think the majority of us are walking around, living inside of and recreating our traumas.
Okay.
So
yeah.
our ability to create is completely reliant upon our ability to, it's reliant upon being whole.
Because the struggle we go through, yeah. Okay.
So if you've got a broken leg and a fractured shoulder or whatever, a fractured shoulder, pulled shoulder, whatever, and you've got these casts on, and I'm like, hey, I want you to go do this high jump. Yeah. You're like, sure. And you keep wondering why you keep adding injuries to the list. Yeah. That is the art of creating. The art of creating is going to express who you authentically are when you actually don't know who you authentically are because you're still living in who you aren't. Okay. So it's so funny. There's this book called The Four Agreements. I think they could have written the whole book in 20 pages, like most books. But the idea was, hey, you came into a culture, a family, and relationship, and you adapted. Yeah. That adaptation is actually a false self. Okay. You weren't accepted just perfectly as you are. You learned fast. It's not okay to hit. Yeah. Right? Okay.
And then your sisters tease you your whole entire life.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can relate. So
sorry, man.
Sorry.
Good job.
Sorry, Lexi and Sarah, if you're watching this.
Good job.
It's true. Good for you. You created a monster. But yeah, so a lot of us are like, we want to go find out who we are, but I think there is a facade to that because I think this is going to show up in high performance sports and high performance sales because those are the people that we need to be like insanely on their game. But I think you'll start to see over the next decade, side rabbit trail, trauma therapy take off.
It needs to.
Because all your stuff shows up on a physical level and on a performance level that they are so in tune. They have to be so deep inside of their performance ability and in their mind and in the mantras. You cannot self-affirm yourself out of pain. You can't do it. Okay, change your belief system. Okay. You know what I mean? It's like you can't change your belief system if your heart fully believes that you're a piece of crap.
I agree.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that I think when people say like, I'm gonna go find myself, I would love to invite them into paying attention and with curiosity, not judgment, not assigning meaning, but just with curiosity over their experience over the last 30 years.